few quick slides explaining what Denada is. And then I am going to open the application and we'll demonstrate kind of a new way to create email. Before I begin, if anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, or you can use the raise your hand feature. For the sake of time, I'll go through the demonstration. It should just take a little under 30 minutes. But at the end, I'll go through and open the chat and we can address any questions. Or at that time, if you want to unmute and ask any questions, I'm happy to answer any. And then because a lot of you are seriously experienced email and cross-channel digital marketers, I'd love to hear your feedback on the tool. Again, we're a startup. We're longtime email marketers, but we really respect and are interested in the opinion from all of you on the tool. And then lastly, following the webinar, if you want to see it for yourself or if you even want to try it for yourself, just let me know and we'll be happy to give you a personalized demonstration or give you access to Denada so you can see how it works. Okay, let's get started. All right, so the background behind Denada is really just that I've been involved in email marketing for over 2 decades. And my partner in an agency, an email agency we started called Leap, Alex Williams, also observed the same thing. And that is basically, we see very long times for email marketing. When we observe other digital marketing channels like social or landing pages or even web publishing, we see shorter times. And why is that with email? You know, part of it is because of its crazy coding in the inbox. But a lot of it is really just the process and the tools that we use. And so in our agency, Leap, we make a lot of email template systems. And when we hand off the template systems to our clients, we see a variety of different ways that they use them. They place them in their ESP, or they use a standalone tool, or they do it by hand, or they use an agency. But we definitely still see a lot of repetitive tasks. And the overall idea was, you know, could we come up with a way that would make it easier and faster to make email, to spring into an email so that all those repetitive tasks don't have to be, you know, so time consuming. And so really that's the idea behind Denada. And again, Alex had tried to create something like this years ago, which he called the Weed Whacker. I love that name. But it wasn't possible. And so what made it possible? It's AI. And so the one thing that's unique about Denada is it really, AI, it's an application created in the AI era. So what is it? We think it's an entirely new category of creative platform, and one that starts with a prompt. So the prompt can be your voice, it can be typing in a sentence, but basically we tell it what to do, and then Denada is trained on your company and your brand, your audience, your products. The training can be really a little or a lot. It can be anything you want. And then the system itself is built around your templates. So again, we make in our other business, Leap the email agency, we make a lot of template systems. And so we know a lot of enterprise email marketers rely on their modular design systems as well. So Denada uses those templates and will never alter them. And then the one main difference about Denada is that, again, it's built in this modern AI era. So previous drag and drop interfaces, AI is coming to it, but it's coming in the form of what we call magic buttons, little functionality being added here and there, rewrite my copy or generate an image. Whereas this is a little different in that AI is wrapped all the way around it. So in its simplest form, how it works is basically you tell it what you want. It'll make an email for you based on the prompt you give it. And then from there, you can save it, edit it, collaborate on it, and finally export it to the ESP. So what does it do when we prompt? Basically, if you tell it something, and again, you can say something as simple as make me a Black Friday email, or you can be very prescriptive and tell it exactly what you want. But what it does is it goes and it looks at your template system. It picks the best block or module based on your prompt. Then it goes and writes the copy. Then it goes and selects the images also based on your prompt. And the images are also ingested into Denada. And then lastly, it generates an email for you. And from there, you can prompt more to tell it to change it. Or like I mentioned earlier, you can save it and begin working on it and hand editing it. So the one thing about Denada is that we like to think it's on brand every time. Again, it's using your very own template system in code. So it'll never alter that. There's guardrails around it. You train it on your brand style. So again, whether you're talking about your company, your email program, your audience, or little things like do's and don'ts, you could say never use exclamation points, or never write in a humorous language, or you can literally put very customized things in your brand training, like insert my Klaviyo merge tag here, and it will place it in. So the brand training is really a very flexible and useful thing. And then lastly, as I mentioned, you can batch drop all your imagery into Denada, or have it sync with your DAM, and Denada will ingest those images. And we'll show you a little bit more about images too. The last thing I want to tell you before we go in and do a demo is Denada is based on what we call libraries. So a library is your template or templates. You can have one or multiple templates in there. It's the users that you invite to use it, whether they're owners or workers or reviewers. There's the brand training that I mentioned, and then there's your image collection. And generally the setup is about a week with a valid HTML template. Okay, so let's switch over to the application itself. And here's what I'm going to show you. We're going to create a new email. We're going to do it 3 different ways. First, I'll do it with my voice. Second, I'll make an email by pasting in a creative brief. And then third, I'll create an email just by providing Denada with a URL and having it go summarize that web page and make an email for me. So we'll make it 3 different ways by using the chat feature. And then I'll show you some of the saving and editing feature where you can edit words and pictures and then share and comments. All right, so let's switch over to the application. And again, if you do have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat. Okay, so if I go to heydenada.com and I hit login, it will open the app. Now, again, this is kind of a different style of platform, meaning it's not full of buttons and interface. If you direct your attention to the left, really we just have 3 areas. We have chats, we have emails, we have images, and then of course there's settings. But what you're looking at here when you first log in is the particular library that you're in. So for today's demo, I'm in a library of TurboTax. There's no endorsement from the email team at TurboTax here. We just simply set it up for them to show them at one point, and I think it's really useful for demoing in it. But that said, Denada is a team workflow tool. So you can have as many users in there as you want, but what's great is you can see what other people are doing. So you can see when emails are being created. So what I'm looking at right here, these are all past prompts or chats when people began making an email. Over here, these are all the emails that have been saved or edited and shared and downloaded. And then lastly, like I mentioned on images, I can place my images in here, and I'll show you a little bit more about that. Okay, so for the first chat, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my voice, and I'm just going to kind of wing it. and we're going to make a newsletter. Please create a simple Black Friday postcard. 25% off TurboTax for 2 weeks only. And please use an image of a small business coffee shop. All right, and if we get this error, we'll switch to a different library. Okay, for some reason it worked on that one. Okay, so what it does is it creates the email for us. So in this case, it's gone and picked a pretty simple layout. It even put our first name merge in there. It wrote our copy. Now, if I want to proceed below, I can add other things below it. I'd like to add a second article below it that features our tax tips video for small businesses. Small businesses should see this video for ways to save on their taxes. This should be a block below the hero. All right. So again, it takes that same layout and it will alter it slightly and it places it below. Now, when you're working in prompts, there's this little drawer on the right side. This is where your modular template system is placed. And it has the names of all the different modules or blocks in it. You can reference these directly in your prompts. So for example, if I wanted to put in another article below, let's say this alert banner. That looks good. Please put in the alert banner at the very bottom, reminding users there's still time to file their 2024 quarterly taxes. All right, and I open it up. We still have our hero, we have our article, and there's our alert banner. And again, anything I want to add or prompt to it, I can. So I think I talked about, I'd like to add one more article to this layout, and it should be above the alert banner. And it should be 2025 tax changes coming for small businesses. Okay, so what I've shown you is we've done a series of prompts and edits where it's done each of these. Now in this one, it didn't choose an image for me, and I'm kind of glad it did because I can demonstrate how images would work. So over here, I could insert it by hand, but I could say, let's see, what was this? This was the third article, tax changes. For the third article, 2025 tax changes, can you please use an image of a florist? I know that I have an image of a florist in my image library. All right, so it's building it, and there we go, it's placed it in. Now again, I can do a variety of changes to this email, but anytime I want, I can save it. So if I hit save emails and then I hit view in emails, if you look over on the left, we're now in the emails area. With this, I can do any changes that I want to do to it. So for example, if I open this and I decide I want to change this particular image, I can go to my images and I can make a change that way. And words, of course, are really simple to change. I can add any URLs that I want, including UTM parameters on all the URLs with individual editing also. Let's see, if I want to change any of these CTAs, this says claim discount. Let's say I wanted to say, get that discount, it would show up below. Now, if I want to change any of the blocks themselves, for example, this block, if I click on it, I can click on this little edit pencil and it shows me all of the block libraries. So if I want to change that, let's say to this one called urgency hero. The pictures, the words, the URLs stay the same, but I can change the block. So it's easy to edit and change pictures, words, URLs, and individual modules. Also in here, if I want to, add a new section above or below, I could simply go back to my image area and place one in. Now, just a couple fun things in here. When we're talking about images, we can we designed Denada so that you can do a variety of your the things that your team would do. You can do it directly in the application. So if we want to change, for example, our image crop, we can do that. If we want to do, if we want to upload an image from a URL, we can just simply place a URL into it. And then one thing that's kind of interesting and kind of fun with this is that if we want to use AI to create a new image, we can use AI images. Again, we know that many of you are creating branded emails. We know you probably wouldn't use an auto-generated image, but if let's say we wanted to have businesswoman. All right, let's try that. Woman walking in front of Capitol building. We can, again, these things are largely going to be placeholder, but if you want to get the image or get the idea across, you can use AI to auto-generate an image as well. So what we've done so far is we've there we go. Again, AI kind of looking image. I'm going to actually change that back. What we've done is we've created an image using our chat, and then from there we've saved it. Now it's an email. Now from here we can do a variety of things. We can see the mobile view. We can see the dark mode view. We can rename it. We can duplicate it, all the sort of normal things that you'd expect. But one of the interesting things is we can share it to the web. So if we hit publish to the web, let's say we want to show our colleagues or our clients, it opens up on a single URL, and it gives you kind of a simulated inbox environment. So it shows your from line, your subject line. Of course, Denada is made for email. So it writes subject lines, it writes the pre-headers, and it does write alt tags as well. But one thing that's nice from here is that when we share this URL with, let's say, our coworkers who want to see it, they can go in and use the editing feature. So if they want to make any particular changes on this, they could say, can we use the video module here? And add it. And now there's a comment on there that the doers on the team can come by and they could make the change and check it off as complete. So it has external commenting. But then what's nice, again, because we worked in email for years, if you're in the application for the people who are authors and have the author level, they too can make comments within the app. So if I want to do a comment in here, can we make this more urgent? I can add this comment in here, but what's nice is that the external viewers will not see it. So there's commenting both for the internal doers and then the external reviewers. Again, you can do a variety of other things in here. I've mentioned UTM tracking. If we wanted to put UTM parameters on all of our URLs, we can set that up pretty easily. Actually, I'm going to pass on that for now. I can always go back and I can see my version history, how it's changed. Again, because there's going to be designers and copywriters, developers maybe, project managers, other people in here. So we want to be able to see how it's changed or edited over time. Now, there's a variety of other ways that I can share it. So if I want to send a proof email, I can type in one or many email addresses, and it'll go directly to your inbox. And then I can export this whole layout as an image where it shows me the desktop and mobile view side by side. And the same is true as a PDF. Now, ultimately, when I'm ready and I've prompted to create my image and I've hand edited it to kind of get it how I want it, I can export it as a zip, which will save the HTML. And then it'll also package up all the images for me. But that said, if you want Denada to host your images, we created robust distributed image hosting. So most of our power users are really just, so again, if I want to show you what, oh, I guess I can't on the full screen. Most of our power users are really just doing this. They're just hitting copy HTML and they're heading over into their ESP and pasting it in. And again, you can set up Denada. Again, it's using your template system. So you can place any of your ESP related code like merge tags or dynamic footers or logic. You can place that all in your template system, or you can make custom prompts in your brand training and have them be referenced. Okay, so we created one with our voice. And again, Denada is also easy to create versions and translations. So for example, if I want to make this, let's say I had a segment that I knew was more coffee shop, I could say, that looks great. Can you please make another version of this for coffee shop owners specifically? Use only images of coffee shops from my collection and ingest coffee shop related copy into the copywriting. Also, use an overall humorous tone with the copy. So this is an easy way to make a wide variety of versions. So again, you can see here, here's a change on the subject line, brewtastic, a little bit more lighthearted. And again, if our brand training allows this, it'll do it. Sipping through taxes, watch the brew, get the grind. I actually like this quite a bit. Now, this doesn't look like a coffee shop thing to me. I could save this and edit it, but I'll say instead, that looks good. Can you please change the first image to be the image of a woman holding a coffee shop chalkboard from my collection? All right, so then what it's doing is it's going and looking through and it's found the image that I referenced. Found the image that I referenced in my library. Lastly, I mentioned translations. This is perfect. Can you please translate this to Spanish? And it's made our Spanish version of it. And we've done a variety of verification on the language, and we're confident with its export. But again, if you use it, you could do it the first few times to verify it's working for you. And again, any of these can be saved. So you can see right here, I made my original version, but I made my coffee shop centric version. All of these can be saved pretty quickly, pretty easily. Okay, so I wanted to show you one other way that we can create an image, and this is really more of a throwback to how a lot of you currently work. So what I have here, I'm going to actually exit full screen, and I have here a kind of a traditionally prepared creative brief. Now, on the past prompt, I didn't tell it specifically how to write. I said generally how it should write. But a variety of our clients who are using Denada in pharmaceutical or in finance, they actually don't want Denada to write the copy. But they still want the springboard benefits of getting quickly into a layout. So how some of them are working is they're literally just copying and pasting in a creative brief. So what I mean is if I go back and I hit new chat, I can simply paste in this creative brief, which tells it exactly what I want it to say, what images I want it to use, and it'll make it for me. Again, so I told it specifically these words, those images, these pictures, and again, if you go back to this, you see image, use the one of the brewer, use the tax organization image, older couple at laptop, and it did it exactly. So again, if you think about how and I'm going to save this email as well. If you think about how traditional email is done with an internal team writing copy, passing to a designer, maybe working in Figma, passing over, once it's approved to a developer, all of this is already in code. It's already to go. So when we view it in emails, that's where the real expertise comes in. That's where I can edit it or change it however I want. Again, that's a little bit of a faster way. Okay, now the last way I want to show you is this. I'm going to switch over here. So this is me as a user. And I mentioned Denada is built on libraries. These are all the different libraries that I'm a part of. I'm going to switch to a brand called Eat Well, which is kind of a health and wellness brand that also has in-person events. So with Eat Well, I want to make a newsletter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to this Good Housekeeping. I literally just Googled beginner yoga for benefits for yoga beginners. I'm going to take this URL. I'm going to go back to Denada, and I'm going to tell it, create a new email newsletter from this URL. And I'll paste in the URL. So what Denada does, and again, it doesn't do this for all websites. Some websites may block this activity, which is essentially crawling activity. But for most, what it does is it'll go to this website and it will summarize it. And it will basically read the website and go through and do the activities I mentioned before. It'll not only see the web page, but it'll go and pull the content from it in a summary. So again, here's a really quick way where I was able to, from this web page, discover yoga for beginners. It even is pulling the URLs and the images directly from the page. And again, if I want to, change anything on this, let's say I don't like how there's two features or two images kind of bumping up next to each other. I could say, let's do this. Let's do this one. How about Classic Hero? That looks great. Can you please use the block Classic Hero for the first block? Okay, and so it's switched it for me. Now the image is on top. It looks a little more balanced, and everything else remains the same. Now, remember, I said it's literally using your template system. What's great about this is it's what we call the democratization of design, meaning if you're on a team where you have a lot of distributed users who want to create their own email, now you can empower them to do it, knowing that it'll stay on brand. So for example, if I wanted to change this button color to purple, that would be off brand, but let's see what it does. That looks great. Can you please make all the buttons purple? Denada will do a lot of things, but it won't change the brand. So you'll see here it says I'm unable to modify the design system directly. So it won't do it. And that, again, is another sort of the way that Denada is built around your template and keeping your template intact. Okay, so I'm going to actually save this one. I can work on it and finalize it and share it with my friends. Now, I want to show you one last thing, and that's images. So with images, what's unique about this is that when we drop any images in there, Denada will write the description for us. So I could just drag and drop 1 or 100 images on here, but actually, if I'm going to add an image, I want to show you what it will do. So if I upload an image, let's say I go to downloads and I choose this photo and I hit upload, what Denada will do is it will look at the image and it will write the description for it. So for example, now it's placed in here, and if I click on it, it has the title of what my my image file name was, but I can put in here mom with stroller and phone. But what's more cool is that if I click on this side, Denada has written a full appearance for everything it saw. So a woman wearing a black top, light blue jeans, sneakers. It's dropped in keywords, mom, outdoor, stroller, and then you personally can edit or change any of this. So this is useful. Let's say this particular person is the founder of Eat Well. We could say Melissa Jones. Now, when I prompt or in any of my initial creation, I could say, use an image of Melissa Jones. Or in the instructions, I could say, use this for our new mother's yoga classes. And this is further description that will help Denada make choices on how to work. So that's kind of the way that it works with images. And the same is true with your template. So not only do you have a description with your imagery that helps Denada make choices, with your template, it has those same descriptors as well. Okay, so we made email in a variety of different ways. We made it from our voice. We made it from a brief. And then we also made it by just telling it to go to a URL. Now, just to wrap up, and then we'll switch to any other questions. I'm going to just mention a few other things about it. As I mentioned, it's built around your system. It uses images or it can generate ones. But this is really kind of our main guiding principle. We really believe it's always easier to edit an email that's almost done than start from scratch. And what Denada is trying to do is we don't want to take, Denada is not going to take anyone's role away. You're certainly all still needed, but we just don't need to be doing these repetitive, time-consuming tasks. So again, it's a great way to make translations or versions. The teams that are using it have really gone back to A/B testing because it's so easy to do. In the past, A/B testing is a challenge because, we got to make another one of these, get it approved. Now this really reduces the friction for making a variety of A/B testing, which puts people back on their goal, which is to get better performance in email marketing. A couple last details you should know: Denada is 100% mobile. So that means you can use it and get all of the functionality anytime, anywhere you want on the small screen. In fact, one of our users made a 6-part email series while sitting in the Denver airport entirely on her phone, and it's in use. The AI is interchangeable. We can use a variety of different AI models in Denada. So if you have your own corporate AI, as long as it meets privacy and API rules, it can be plugged into Denada. So we don't just use one system. And then lastly, it's compatible with almost all major ESPs. As long as it can accept HTML, you can use it in your ESP. Now, the one thing that is also unique about Denada is that we are not capping it in any way. So it is unlimited output and unlimited users. The fees are really just for setup and then your monthly subscription. Your monthly subscription is based on based on your library. So you pay a monthly subscription fee per library. But again, we decided not to put any caps on it because it is a great tool for exploration. We want people to use it to generate, to explore, to learn, and improve performance. And as I mentioned earlier, one of the other main guiding principles for us is that this, we think, allows people to demonstrate what they're talking about quicker. I worked in an organization where there was a lot of marketing managers who were frustrated with the 2-3 weeks to see something. They wanted to take action now. Well, they can be empowered with Denada to say, hey, what if we did an email like this? doesn't mean it's going to go out. It still needs the email team to edit it and save it. But allowing others to create can really help teams overall. I'm not going to get too much into this because I want to leave some time for questions. But one of the teams that began using it over the summer saw significant time reductions in their roles around copywriter, designer time, and especially around developer time, which allowed them to increase productivity and do more, and again, really focus on it. So not here to replace teams, really made for teams to eliminate kind of the slowness that we see in email creation. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining very much. I'm just going to summarize and then I'll go through and look at any questions you might have. But again, overall, we want Denada, and we hope you find it to be a simple but powerful platform. You can just describe what you want to the system and it will make it on brand in your template, trained on your pictures and words. It's a great tool for exploration and versions, and it has serious time savings and the associated cost savings as well. And lastly, we're not restricting any output or users, so you can invite as many people to it, whether they're reviewers or creators. And then lastly, we challenge any of you to try Denada and see in an A/B test if your traditional layouts versus a Denada layout performs better. Because what we're seeing just from our summer cohort alone is that we see improved results on a variety of layouts made using the system. So I just want to thank you very much. And now I'm going to just slide over and look and see if we have any questions. Again, feel free to ask any questions in the chat. Okay, so Chad asks, can you show the components of the design system and how it is created or edited? Great question. So if I switch over to back to the system, so the design system, again, is in this little side drawer. We have a variety of stock templates that we can use if you don't have templates. In fact, we have hundreds of modules. But again, this is typically built for people who already have a modular template system that they want to use. If it's not coded, we can code it for you and place it in there. A variety of our clients who are placing their template systems in here. It is a good time if you want to do a facelift or update to your template system before you put it into Denada, you can. But again, you're basically saying, let's take our coded template system, or it might be a Figma-based template system. We turn it into code, and that's part of the setup. So it's placed in here. For the owner-level users, after a little bit of training, they'll be able to edit and alter their template systems in Denada as they see fit. So hopefully that answered your question. Again, your template is placed into the system. And again, if you don't have one, we can work with you on designing one, or if you have one in pixels, we can work on turning it into code. All right, so another question. Bernard asks, it is my understanding that Denada has a standalone template through which we can create multiple templates of our choice. Yes, that's exactly right. So we would work with you, to find out, what type of template you would want to use. Again, right now we have about probably between 20 and 25 stock template systems that we can review with you. And we have about 6 of them that are already set up. We call them our boilerplate templates. So yeah. All right, another question. Mathene asks, it seems like it fetched first name as personalization by its own. Can we guide via voice to create placeholders for different attributes within email? That's a great question. So what he's asking is, I think might not have been in here, but let's go back to this chat. This looks great. Can you please place first name merge tags in all the headlines? So yes, we can place merge tags in the headlines, and the code or syntax around the merge tag can be trained in your brand library. Okay, so now it's placed it in here. Now the underlying code behind this, we would go into the brand training and we would say, whenever I say merge tag, it'll place this in the front end HTML. But if you were to look behind, it would place however you wanted to structure it. So whatever ESP that you're in. And you can do this for anything. So again, think of the flexibility. So if I had a variety of different segments that I use, let's say I have my MVP, I have my small business, and I have my my B2B. I could say, create this in my three different segments, and it will generate those in my three segments, because in my brand training, I've said, here's my three segments, and it already knows all about it. So I hope that answered your question. Another one is from Marianne. I saw you can create content using a URL. Are you able to upload a PDF? Right now, that's a great question. I don't think I've actually tried that from a PDF. So I will have to get back to you on that. If the PDF is hosted on a web page, it might be able to. I don't know. You could select all of the copy in the HTML in the PDF and tell it to generate an email from that. But that is a really good question. Let me get back to you on that. Another question is, from Chad, could you show the components of the design system and how it is? Oh, I'm sorry, I already hit that one. All right, any other questions? Which region, oops, this changed here. Which region, language, accent does it recognize? Oh, good question. Right now it's standard US, but I will have to get back to you on other regional languages. I would need to discuss with our developer on that one. I'm not sure that answer. All right. And yes, we can create emails with other languages like Japan, for example. Yes, we can, can you please translate this to Japanese? All right, while it's doing that, Marianne asks another question. For the module where there is a video loaded, where is that pulling from? Okay, so Marianne, with that is really just, let me go back to that one. So with the video, I think it was under this one. Yes, no, it wasn't. Let me step back. It was under this one. Okay, so it had this video. So this isn't going to play in email. You probably know video and email they just have not gone together. But what all this is how it's designed, meaning it has this video UI button placed into the module. But again, this is just a module. So if I wanted to change this particular module, from a video to a different one, I could simply, do it like that. So it's not video per se. It's just how the container or block is formatted to show it. I'm going to actually switch that back because I think it did look good. All right. Okay. So that's Denada in a nutshell. I hope that was helpful to you all. And again, would love to hear any feedback or questions. Please reach out to us directly if you'd like to do a demo or see things further. And again, as I said, we'd love to hear any ideas, thoughts, or feedback on how it might work with you in the way that you create email marketing. The one last thing I will mention, Denada can do more than email. So anything that is a template can be placed in here. So that could be landing pages, that could be social posts, that could be HTML5 banners. If you can turn it into a coded template, it can be placed in Denada. We're really focused on email marketing right now because we think it needs the most help. But we do have a user who is in Denada making blog posts, another one who is doing very content-based modules. So again, any template can be placed into Denada. One other thing you should know, we're offering it really to anyone. So if you're just a small business and you want to use it by yourself, if you're on an email team, If you're in an agency, we're also open to discussing using Denada in your application as an API, like an SDK agreement, where you can place Denada in any application to create email. So it could be really useful, as an alternative to some of the drag and drop environments in email service providers, for example. So hopefully that was helpful. We'd love to hear, again, any questions, and feel free to direct them my way. I'll send out this recording along with the presentation afterwards. And thank you very much. Have a great weekend.